Welcome back, Raider Nation and my champions. This is Eric, and we are back live in a special Monday night edition of the show. Of course, we had our game against the Vikings, which we won 26-20 yesterday afternoon. So I wanted to come on tonight, talk about the game. Of course, like I did the last time, the Hall of Fame game, give you the good, the bad, the ugly. I'm also going to talk about a little bit about the cut down. We have to cut down from 90 to 85 active roster players by tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 o'clock Pacific, our time here. Going 1 o'clock, I live in Southern California, as well as the Raiders in Las Vegas are on Pacific time. How are you guys doing tonight? I see you out here. I see Sandy B. I see Diane in TikTok. I see a bunch of people floating in on both. How are you guys doing? Sound off as you will. I'm going to be, I will have formal Q&A session, but if you guys have specific questions, I will be taking them during the show. I don't want you to wait, especially those guys on TikTok. You go ahead and put your questions in right now, and I will get them as soon as I get them. Now, remember, there's about a 10 or 15 second delay on TikTok. I think there's about a 7 or 10 second delay on YouTube as far as me seeing your comments and responding back. So I also put a poll in the chat in YouTube. Which do you think is our bigger issue? Is it the pass blocking or run stopping? So far, we got a few votes in. Run stopping's in the lead right now. Go ahead and put that in there. I see you, Biz Woofer. How you doing? Let's go Vikings. No, this is the Raider broadcast. We're not really gonna focus a whole lot on the Vikings. We're gonna talk about how the Raiders did in the game. I would say overall they did not look as well as they did in the first week. But I think a lot of that has to do with Minnesota being a little bit better team than Jacksonville, to be honest with you, especially their scrubs. But we will get into that. How are you guys doing out there? Looking in my TikTok, a lot of people coming in here as well. So let's get started, and we're going to get into it right now. If you guys are not familiar with my program here, the show, we have what we call the rundown here, and we have our categories. This is what we're going to be talking about. And as always, we end with our Q&A session, and I get you guys involved. We have the topics at hand, and in this case, we're going to be talking about the game. I want to get your thoughts on that. So with that said, we're also going to be putting this rundown down here in case you want to refer back to it. It just takes up less space, as you can see there. So let's get to our first one.
And I hear everyone say it, take what they give you. We're going to take what we want.
Now, this is where we stand, and I want to thank you guys right now for being champions, subscribing, or following to the show. As you will, we're at 800 on YouTube, over 1,400 on TikTok. Thank you very much. It allows me to live stream to you guys. I appreciate that, every single one of you. For Loco Gang, I see you there. Blue Strip. I'm not so sure what that is, but hey, you can explain yourself. That's all good. I see Biz Woofer still talking here. Good to be here with you, champ. Yeah, it's good to have you here as well. We'll talk a little bit about Vikings if you want as well. Dominic saying the O-line scares me, especially Leatherwood is so bad. We'll talk about that as well. We'll get to that in a minute once we get to our game review. Let's get to our next topic, though, and that is our poll of the week, which we always do every week, especially before shows. And my one was we had Brandon Parker having an injury. A lot of people are saying he's on IR. He is still not officially on IR. So who would you want to basically replace him at the offensive tackle position? The majority of you said Darrell Williams. I put the cost here, kind of an estimate according to Spot Track. And me personally, I would like Eric Fisher and one of these guys. I'd like to get two vets. I'm saying Eric Fisher because he can play the left side. I'm going to get to that in a minute. I think that might be our biggest problem right now that I'm seeing is if Colton Miller goes down, we are in deep trouble. I'm going to get into the specifics of that, especially not only in the Hall of Fame game, but this week I'm going to talk a little bit about what I saw. Vegas too, just a little bit closer to Minnesota, says Bizwoofer. That's fine. That's fine. Thank you for the like, Sandy B. I appreciate it. If you are enjoying this, give it a thumbs up. Any platform you're on. Again, we're on TikTok and YouTube, simultaneous simulcasting, if you will. I'm still waiting for my stream key from TikTok. They do give those out, but yeah, I guess you have to be a really good boy or whatever. I don't know. I still haven't received that yet. Once I do, you guys will get the full deal just like I do here with YouTube. Let's get to the next one. Now, I always want to start you guys off with getting into the injury news. Now, the PUP list has not changed. These guys have not been taken off the PUP list yet. They don't really have to until the next cut down date next Tuesday. We'll talk about that in a little bit later. So, big deal, little deal, not so much. Things are still kind of up in the air. And as you know, they don't have to report specifics right now. More so on the regular season for their opponents. They don't have to really tell you much of anything. These guys are designated, of course, 3 starters here, and I would say a backup, maybe practice squad guy and Dylan Stoner, to be honest with you. As far as the IR, we picked up this guy, Cravon LeBlanc, a corner. He's out. He's on injured reserve. He was basically a backup anyway. Not a huge issue here, in my opinion. But the one guy I do want to talk about here is Darren Waller. He's reported to have a hamstring injury. A lot of people are saying it's a kind of a hold-in, they call it, instead of a hold-out, because he still doesn't have that contract renegotiation yet that I thought would be happening right about now. So some people are saying that's what's going on here. Honestly, the starters aren't even playing anyway. They didn't play in week 2 against Minnesota. They might play a series against Miami, though I've said we should advise against that, especially with the humidity. I can see a lot of pulls and strains there. And for what? It's an exhibition game. It makes no sense. I would want to see them for like a quarter in the New England game, our last preseason game. Let's see. I'm seeing a lot of ins and a lot of outs in TikTok, but that's the way it goes. That's fine. I do want to show you something, though, as far as something interesting that I saw as far as Darren Waller goes. I'm going to get to that right now. And this is from Heavy.com. He actually did a podcast with Raider Nation Boston, the bus stop. And I'll play it for you. He basically said there's a lot of times in the past couple years where he felt things weren't clearly defined in the red zone, kind of taking a knock at John Gruden. And of course, I have to agree with him that our red zone offense looked like crap last year, but he feels a lot more confident with Josh McDaniels running the show. I'll let you listen to this.
The past couple years where I felt like I didn't have there was like a clear defined attack in the red zone or like a plan for me specifically. I felt like it was just kind of like, what am I doing sometimes? Yeah. But now I kind of feel like that's something that's in place with Josh and developing just off of this offseason alone. So it's kind of asking him about how did your role in the red zone come about? Because that's a big thing. Like for me, there's no reason why my big ass shouldn't be,
oh yeah, bro, I'm
dominating in the red zone at all times, So.
So yeah, he's taking a knock at John Gruden, and honestly, rightfully so. Our red zone offense was garbage last year, one of the lowest in the league, to be honest with you, and it is what it is. And this kind of encourages me as far as Josh McDaniels goes. We've talked about him. Some people said, well, his past in Denver, I think that was a long time ago. I think he's a lot more mature. More of a mastermind, obviously, than John Gruden. John Gruden was kind of more of a cheerleader, more of a fiery guy. And I think once Waller gets his negotiation done, the hamstring injury will probably disappear. I know he went to the Las Vegas Aces WNBA game, and they asked Josh McDaniels about it. He just kind of pushed it away. That's not a big deal. He wasn't playing anyway, blah, blah, blah. So I think that's probably what's happening here. So let's get right to it. We're going to talk about the game review. And like I do during my halftime reports during the regular season, I give a good, the bad, and the ugly. Let's get right to that. Oh, yeah. So let's get to the good. Of course, we start with the good, then the bad, then the ugly. So the good, these guys are running the ball. This is 2 weeks in a row. And it's not just Zamir White. We got 140 rushing yards in the game, and Josh Jacobs didn't even play in this game. I am very confident in this running game, and it goes right down the line. So I'm seeing something systemic, which makes me feel good. It's something good, obviously. And it kind of goes in line with the Josh McDaniels type offense where he uses different players. Total running back by committee. It's still working. Of course, we still want to see the ones out there, but so far, so good. And then the goal line, we stopped these guys in the goal line area twice. They had to settle for field goals. There was one who they were on like the 1 yard line. I don't know why they didn't go for it and, to test out their goal line. They didn't. Minnesota kind of lame, to be honest with you. Especially there was a nice play by Billings, the defensive tackle, Andrew Billings. Stood out to me there. Overall, real good. Kind of bend it, but don't break. We'll get to that bend part in a minute. As far as the bad goes, still questioning this offensive line. I'm pressing the panic button right now, especially at the left tackle position. They put Luminor there for time. He looked completely lost, honestly. They put him back to guard. He was fine. Alex Bars, left guard, terrible. This guy's been in the league, 4 years? He doesn't know how to play a stunt. And then here's Alex Bars right here. Missing his guy on the stunt. Here comes the defensive tackle. Gets outsped by a defensive tackle trying to grab. Here's Stidham. Gonna take a hit. Similar to what we're seeing last week. A lot of hits on the quarterback. They had Minnesota had 4 sacks in the game. Again, I know it's not the starters. I know Colton Miller wasn't out there, but this is getting worrisome to me, especially if Colton gets hurt. The only one I saw that was adequate at left tackle that they put in there was Jackson Barton, and he wasn't that great. I would say he was average, and he was playing against second and third stringers anyway, so that's a big problem for me. The special teams, we're talking about that. They got that opening kickoff for a, quote, touchdown, but I got called back on a flag. Now, some people say, well, they got that far because they held. Maybe, but we saw that last week where we got bailed out on a flag, and then they had that nice run back in the second half. This kind of goes back to that new special teams coach, Tom McMahon from Denver. Had the bottom. I talked about that. They had at near the bottom as far as kick and punt returns allowed, and it's kind of still showing here, and that worries me. And then the last one, I'm going to call it kind of bad light, and it was kind of some of the play calling in the red zone kind of had me scratching my head. I know it's the preseason. I know they're just trying different things. They're shuffling offensive linemen all around. I saw it. That's fine. But some of the things that kind of made me scratch my head, they had 4th and 1, and they run Kenyon Drake up the middle. Kind of more of a smaller, shiftier guy, pass-catching kind of guy. Why didn't they use Zamir? Why didn't they use Britton Brown there? This was in the first half. And then they tried running a sweep with Zamir White. I mean, that's where you use Kenyon Drake to run on the outside. So I know they're trying to... I hope I don't see that kind of stuff. I just don't think they were using the proper personnel for what they were trying to do there. And let's get to the ugly. And we got to talk about this. Let me take this off so you can see it. And the running game. I mean, our front 7 got destroyed, especially the defensive tackles. They gave up 115 yards on 22 carries. That's over 5 yards per carry, and that includes the quarterbacks running. If you took them away, it'd even be higher as far as yards per carry. Just getting absolutely mauled, especially in the second quarter and some in the third quarter. And hang on, let me see here. Got some pictures. I can't use video here. When I do, I get hit by YouTube, of course. So I'm just taking some screenshots here. Here's the left side of the defense, right side of the offensive line. Completely closing up, no ceiling. This is the running back that already has the ball. Look at this. A freight train can run through here. This outside linebacker is going to be blocked, and so these safeties are going to have to make the play 5-10 yards up. This is ridiculous. This wasn't the only play. This was a lot like this. This needs to be cleaned up. I expected a little bit more from Patrick Graham. I know some of the personnel aren't going to be here, like I would say Tyler Lancaster. I think he was actually getting knocked around on this play in particular, but still, this is beyond just bad play. The inside linebackers take the wrong one. They're all getting blocked. Look at this is absolute nonsense. If you watch that drive in the second half near the end of the halftime, they ran at will and they were out physicaling us. And that was being more physical than us. So that cannot happen anymore. And I just took a picture of Josh McDaniels here. This was during the 2-minute warning. So this was that last drive, and you could tell he was pissed off. And frankly, I was too when I saw that. Hey, Danny, how you doing? So I want to get to, as far as I give you my good, bad, and ugly, I want to get to what Josh McDaniels said after the game. I gave a couple interviews. This is the one right after the game, and I had to put this one up number one. He said, yep, and the question was, a reporter asked him, "What are people reading too much into who's starting and who's not?" And he said, "Yep, absolutely." And I have to agree. And there are some content creators out there, including Chat Sports, of course, we know that are basically saying Alex Leatherwood sucks. He didn't start till the second half. Blah 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 blah. You could tell that he was shuffling everybody around. He's trying to see what he has. I still think Leatherwood is the odds-on favorite to win that right tackle position. That's why he moved Illuminor to left tackle. He looked lost, and he popped him right back in. He moved him right back in next to Leatherwood in the second half. No problem. So I don't read anything into that. A lot of people are. I think that's complete smoke, and I don't think it's correct, to be honest with you. I would say let's see when the first team's out there. When Derek Carr's out there, let's see who the linemen are. Then we'll have a better idea of who's who and where they're at. Now, he did give a couple shout-outs here. DJ Turner, huge game. I think he's had 2 good games right now, and I hope he's a wide receiver, but I call him DJ Returner. He had a good return this week as well. Some other guys, Kuntz had a pretty good game as well. I'm just I'm wondering if Turner's actually going to make the team, honestly, because that wide receiver room's pretty stacked. I would love to see him grab a spot and at least be a returner here and take those responsibilities off of Hunter Renfrow, who frankly shouldn't be even having them. Then he talked about the homecoming. Now, officially, the first game was the Hall of Fame game. We were, quote-unquote, the home team. That was in Canton, Ohio. This was our first preseason game at Allegiant Stadium in Vegas this year with Josh McDaniels at the helm. And he said that was the most impressive crowd he has ever seen. Now, probably a little puffed up, yeah, but still, I mean, that's saying a lot, being years and years with the Patriots and all their winning and all that. So I had to give a shout out to the Raider Nation showing up there and showing up loud and proud. Good to hear. Hey, good, you're home, Dan. Good, you're home. Dominique says, I really hope Leatherwood doesn't start at right tackle. He's a mediocre guard at best. I thought he didn't do such a bad job when he was at right tackle in the second half, to be honest with you. Again, I want to see, I'm more concerned with the backup left side. I'm real concerned. And he brought up the quote, you got to first learn how not to lose to win. And he was kind of happy that we didn't turn the ball over. We did put the ball on the ground, but we recovered them. Britton Brown put it on the ground. Tyrone Wheatley Jr., his son, is playing offensive tackle. He recovered it. So I think penalties were rather low in the game as well. So fundamentally, we're doing better. Still got a few things to clean up, of course. And I'm really looking forward to seeing these number ones. Are we going to see them next week? That's going to be a big question. Our next game will be next Saturday at Miami. And are we even going to see Derek Carr and crew here? I don't know. That would be a good question. But I want to hear from you guys right now. One other thing I want to talk about, though, as we go through this. Hey, Panda, how are you doing? I see you here. We're back live. Salute to you as well. Thank you for coming on in. I appreciate that. I want to talk about this cut down right here. Tomorrow is the deadline. They have not made any official transactions. Now, we're going to get, just want to show you briefly what I'm talking about here. Hang on. I got this. This is spottrack.com. Here, let me take there so you can see it a little bit better. Here's spottrack.com. So we have 90 players on the active roster, 4 of which do not count right now because they're on the PUP list. Okay, so it's Trayvon Mullen, Bilal Nichols, Jonathan Hankins, and Dylan Stoner, backup wide receiver that I talked about before. So even if you don't count them, we have 86. We have to get to 85. We have to release at least one player or put them on the practice squad, take them off the active list by tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific time. Again, I just checked about an hour before the show started. There has been no official transactions made that I saw from the Raiders themselves. So I'm going to go through some of the guys that may get cut here. I want to see your inputs as well. I see Panda there cut all of our defensive tackles except for our starters and 2 rookies. I'm not pleased with what I see. Honestly, I'm agreeing with you there. Billings made some good plays, but other than that, I'm not real happy with that situation. Grazu sent a 95-mile-an-hour fastball at Nick Mullins, if you saw that. It did hit Mullins' hands, but, I'm going to say it's on the center for throwing it that hard, and Mullins did the right thing, covering it up. He could be a casualty at some point because we know Parham is going to make the team, and he could play center if we need to. I think James is going to get that top billing there, first-string center. As far as the corners go, there's Meek Robinson. He's on the bubble, to be honest with you. Chris Jones did not have a very good game. Sam Webb had a very good game. It's gonna make the decision a lot tougher once we get down to 53. So we're going to have to release at least one player by tomorrow. If we take some people off PUP, we'll have to release more to give them room, space on the 85-man roster. Let's get down here. I'm just going to go through here. You guys, I want to hear what you say. Yoshi says Munford was on fire. Yeah, Munford looked pretty good. They started him at right tackle. He looked pretty good. I gave him a lot of crap when they put him in left tackle last week because he was too slow, in my opinion. Right tackle might be the position for him. JT Money says, if we don't get right tackle situated, Carr's going to get smoked. Yeah, and I would say left guard position as well. I've seen enough of Alex Bars. We'll get to him here in a minute. Tyler Lancaster, he was one of the guys getting owned in those drives, those running drives. Jerry Green, pretty good at some pass rushing there as a backup, but doesn't play the run too well, to be honest with you. Tashawn Bauer, not too good. Billings had that goal line stuff. That was pretty good. Pico, not so good. Farrell didn't look too hot, to be honest with you, but he's a rookie. They'll probably give him at least a year a chance, of course, especially his size. Let's see. Alex Bars, he needs to go. I would be shocked if he makes the 53-man roster. I'm not saying he's going to go tomorrow, but I would be totally surprised if he made the final cut. We probably won't get rid of any offensive linemen, any defensive linemen, or running backs tomorrow. That's my opinion because it's high injury prone. Ask Baltimore last year with the running back situation. They had 2 guys get destroyed with knee injuries, so I don't think that's going to happen. Even Josh McDaniels alluded to that. You need a lot of running backs because they get hit a lot. Dominic says, not a fan of Parham at center. Yeah, he's okay. Again, remember, he's a rookie. If anything, he'll probably be a backup and probably be a guard. He's already here listed as a guard. Let's see. Linebackers. Okay, we still haven't seen Perryman in a game yet, so I'm not so worried about that right now. Luke Masterson, I'm not too impressed with that guy. He was in the game yesterday. Colt Miller hasn't played. Chandler hasn't played. Those guys are locks, of course. Our punter, Derek Carr. A lot of people were praising Nick Mullins. I think he had a decent game, but I think Jarrett Stidham, not to say he's great, but I think he's probably secured the number 2 spot in my opinion, by the way he's played the last 2 weeks. Chase Garbers could be a practice squad guy. I know he's going to be at some point, maybe tomorrow. I don't think we're going to carry 4 quarterbacks on the 53-man roster. So, but it's nice, he's getting some work in there, seeing how the NFL game is played, even with backups. And who knows, he might catch on as a backup somewhere else. Let's see. The running back room is pretty interesting in my opinion. We got a lot of players. They're overall playing well because the running game is doing very well. Another good, decent outing, pretty good outing by Austin Walter. Britton Brown fumbled the ball. That might cost him his spot at some point, if not tomorrow at the final cut down on the 30th, I'm sure. Of course, Zamir is going to make it. Drake and Josh are going to make it. I know there's more talk about him getting traded. I don't think that's going to happen. So we've got 3. We'll probably carry 4 or 5 of these guys. Bolden, old Patriot guy, system guy. So it'll probably be, if we're carrying 5 guys, it'll be a fight for these 3 guys right here. So let's see. Leatherwood, right tackle. He's going to make it, of course. Merrick. Gillespie, honestly, is kind of an iffy one. Cole did not look very good, number 42. In my opinion, didn't look very good last night or yesterday. Let's see. Cosby didn't look as good as he did the first week. Jackson Barton, like I said, I think for the people we have on our roster right now, he's probably the best we have to back up Colt Miller at left side. That's what I'm seeing. I've seen Munford there. I saw Luminor there. Scary. This guy is kind of mediocre or kind of adequate there, but not getting destroyed. Munford had a good game at right tackle, I got to say. He was slow last week. Looked pretty good there. Maybe the right side is good for him and not as a swing guy. Wheatley had that fumbled recovery from Britton Brown. Covered it up. Let's see. We got 5 tight ends here. Actually 6 if you count Horsted here. He's actually a tight end from the Bears. Fotheringham dropped a ball. We're probably only going to carry 2, maybe 3 guys here. So I'm talking about active roster. We can still put them on the practice squad. I'm looking ahead to 53. Of course, these 2 guys are going to make it. A lot of people say, Mac Hollins has inside track at a spot. Okay. Keelan Cole's been okay. I really want to see this guy make it. This is the kind of guy who hurt us in the past with Kansas City. We're set up similarly with a nice tight end, a nice star wide receiver. We got a slot guy. This guy can go deep inside. He's never gonna get double covered, and he's gonna be able to make those catches. To be honest with you, DeMarcus Robinson, formerly of Kansas City. Teron Johnson, not really panning out, to be honest with you. Speed guy, former Charger, not really giving us a lot to keep him, to be honest with you. Stoners on pup. And of course, DJ Turner. I call him DJ Returner. I would love to see this guy grab a spot and be our return guy. He had a nice return in the second half of the game. Very shifty, lateral shift. Not the speediest of guys, not to say he's slow, but I like his lateral shiftiness. Avoid some tackles. So what do you guys think? I'm going to defer to you guys. Let's see. Let's get back into this. I want to see what you guys have to say here. How you guys doing tonight? Let's see. Afraid I forgot Kenny Youngs is on the team. I haven't seen him. He hasn't played, says Panda. JT Money. Let's see. I'm just scrolling down. I want to see what you guys have to say. So who do you guys think is going to be gone tomorrow? I'm assuming the 4 guys are going to stay on the PUP list for tomorrow's cut. Remember, next Tuesday they go to 80, and that's the decision. If they stay on the PUP list, I originally read there was 4 games. I'm reading now it's 6 games. They'll miss 6 games of the regular season. So I'm honestly expecting at least 3 of those guys to be off the PUP list because to me they're starters, right? Mullen, Hankins, and Bilal. They're going to be off the starting list. We'll talk about that next week, but That's going to be a huge one. This one, we really only need to cut one player to get there unless they take some guys off the PUP list. Or, of course, we sign Ndamukong Suh or another tackle to make room for them, of course. So who do you guys think should go tomorrow? I'll put that in the chat. I want to hear what you have to say. As far as the voting goes, it's about 2-1 run stopping to pass blocking. Yeah, kind of a no. I'm kind of leaning more towards the pass blocking because our two projected starters at defensive tackle haven't played it down yet. They're on PUP, so I'm assuming they're going to be coming back, so the run stopping will be better. The offensive line is still kind of in flux right now. Obviously, he's moving a lot of things around. Again, I think we'll have a better idea of what's going to happen once number 4 gets on that field. Of course, he's going to put his best 5 out there so he doesn't get his quarterback killed. Let's see. Invite. Maybe next time, 360 Richard. 360 Richard. Appreciate you coming in, though. Let's see. Just going through the chat, both sides. Parm needs time to develop, says JT. Wouldn't mind seeing him start at right guard this season, though. I think Illuminard's going to take one spot, and could be Parm or Simpson as the other guard. We'll see. That's my opinion. I think Andre James has probably got the center position locked up. Of course, Colton at the left side. And I still think Leatherwood's going to be our starting right tackle week 1 of the regular season. Panda says, do we keep 5 running backs? New England has always kept 4 or more. We might. There's no rule on how many you have to keep. We can only keep 53 once we get to the final cuts before the regular season. So it's at the team's discretion. So we're going to keep at least 4 of those. Like I said, probably 5. Like I said, Josh McDaniels likes to use a lot of running backs. Big committee. That's why I keep a lot of, if you play fantasy, a lot of people saying, pick up Josh Jacobs. I'm like, no, don't pick up Josh Jacobs. He's going to get vultured. He's going to get a lot of carries taken away from him. And he's going to wear down again like he normally does. And Zamir White's going to kind of take over. He's our future. They're going to want to showcase him, especially in the back half, where he can pound the ball. You see him? He is not afraid of contact. I love that guy. He's going to be awesome for us. Of course, Kenyon Drake's there. He's gonna be getting some outside work. I don't necessarily like Drake between the tackles. I don't think he's big enough. Britton Brown was a possibility, but he fumbled that ball, that 7th round pick that probably sealed his fate, to be honest with you. Austin Walters looked good. Amir looked good week 1. He didn't play here. So I think, like I said, Brandon Bolden knows the system. I think he's going to be kept as well. We'll see, though. I think we're going to keep at least 4, probably 5 running backs. And they also have Jakob Johnson, the fullback that they signed, former Patriot. So Dominique says, Mullins is a better proven quarterback. He actually won NFL games. Stidham hasn't done anything in the NFL. People just like him because he knows the system. Shake my head. Yeah, but not to say Mullins was bad, but I think that actually goes a long way, to be honest with you. I think knowing the system and knowing Josh McDaniels and Josh McDaniels can trust him, that goes a lot further. I think both will make the team, but I think Stidham will be our number 2 guy. Is Brown listed? Britton Brown? What are you talking about, Sandy B? Elaborate. See, JT Money says Drake will be cut before traded with that contract. Well, if he's cut, it's going to be a dead cap hit, right? I think all of it is, let me look. I could pull that up. I got Spot Track up here. Let me see. Let's check it out. I've got Spot Track on here. Let's see what we got. Running back. Kenyon Drake, dead cap hit. Oh, about half of it. That's a possibility. He's due $8 million. If we cut him, it's a $4 million hit. So that is possible. I honestly, though, I wouldn't want to cut him, though. I think he's an asset. Why not have him? He's like our James White, so to speak, on that Patriots type running game. He's going to be here one more year. I think we overpaid for him, obviously, but it is what it is. We'll use him and Jacobs up, and Zamir will be our future. Whoop. Sorry about that, TikTok. How you guys doing out there, TikTok? I see a few of you popping in. You got any questions? Pop them down there. I'll take them right now. You TikTokers, don't stop. Let's see. JT, I'm eating that 4 million. Drake can go. He doesn't look like he has shiftiness he once had. Young guys look better than him. Could be that ankle injury too, Panda. Is he at 100%? I mean, he did that late in the year. He kind of should be, but I mean, he's got some wear and tear on him too. He's been around a little bit, so. Panda says, I'm keeping DJ Turner over Teron Johnson. Yeah, I think that's probably what's going to happen now. Teron has not really done anything to earn a spot, to be honest with you. And Turner can return the ball, and that's what I want. Dominique also says, I'd keep Turner over Johnson. Training camp hype like Tanner Muse. Well, Tanner Muse had some decent games. I believe, what was it, the Seattle game last year, and everybody was saying he looked good, and they were hyping him up, and they were actually talking him up, and then like a week later they cut him. It was like, what the heck happened? So I don't know. It's going to be tough. I'm about 50-50 on whether Turner makes the team at this point, and that's pretty good from where he started, to be honest with you. Very crowded wide receiver room. What about Brown? I liked him yesterday. Britton Brown? Well, Britton Brown fumbled the ball, and that was in the fourth quarter. And if Minnesota would have recovered it, they could have came on and won the game. Basically, got a game-winning touchdown. So, there's no excuse for putting the ball on the ground. And I like him. I like his running style in between the tackles. I said that in my draft review. UCLA kid, 7th round draft pick. But you can't put the ball on the ground. I don't care how good you run the ball. If you put the ball on the ground, luckily we recovered it, but it's only 15 likes in chat. I appreciate that. 2,400 in TikTok. Thank you very much. And if you are enjoying this, of course, give it a thumbs up and subscribe or follow on TikTok. That helps out the channel. It helps out the algorithm, all that stuff. I know everybody talks about that because it's true. If you guys aren't participating, you're not putting comments down, you're not putting likes or subscribing, then these platforms think that nobody likes it, nobody wants to watch it. Okay? So hook me up. Let's see. Thank you. I appreciate that. Panda says, Cole, Gillespie, 1 or 2 corners, Zuber, Chris Lacey are my cuts. I really, really want to release Vernon Butler. The guy is bad. Vernon Butler. Yeah. Could he be our Solomon Thomas? I mean, we're kind of head scratcher signing. Could he turn out to be getting 5 sacks though? I don't think so. Again, I'm a little concerned at the defensive tackle position, of course. Who isn't at this point? We got 2 starters on PUP. The rest of the guys not really balling out, including the rookies. So I don't blame the rookies. It's going to take time, of course, but some of the vets aren't looking good as well. So it is what it is. Let's see. Panda agrees with Dominique regarding Turner. Of course, DJ Turner's looking good. That could be a Trey Regis situation, though. Remember, Trey Regis looked pretty good last year, got cut. So, like I said, wide receiver room's pretty crowded. The big thing with him is he can return the ball. That is huge, in my opinion, especially since we gave all that money to Hunter Renfrow. I want him to not return ever again. Austin Walter looked great. He always looks good. He's a shifty little guy. I like him. I don't think he's going to make the team. The running back room is very crowded right now. Unless they trade Josh Jacobs, I don't see him making the team, to be honest, Dominique. Let's see. Hey, Cindy from the block. How you doing? Monster, 12-point buck. How you doing? We're talking Raider football. We're talking about the game against the Vikings, the 26-20 win. Of course, it's preseason. The score didn't really matter. I think the Vikings were a little bit better competition, and it showed. We had some trouble running the ball. That's an issue. DFTs, especially inside. Minnesota's not. Their line is probably average, I would say. It's not a world beater line like Philadelphia or something like that. So that is an issue. And then the offensive line issues. They're still getting a lot of pressure on Stidham and Nick Mullins, just like week 1. A lot of concern with that. Who's going to back up Colton Miller on the left side? I have a huge issue with that. Huge concern. Appreciate that. I have Panatai says I rather have Abdullah over Drake, but that's me. I think Kenyon Drake's still a baller though, but on the outside, between the tackles, unless there's a big hole, you're only going to get 2 or 3 yards from the guy. You put in Zamir White or Josh Jacobs fully healthy, you're going to get 5, 6, 7 yards on that play. It's just the facts. Yeah, I know, but he still did the other good things. Yeah, Britton Brown had a decent game up till then, but those are kisses of death. Putting the ball on the ground is a kiss of death, especially for a 7th round pick. Basically a bubble player to make the 53. So, yeah. So, I'm thinking practice squad for Britton Brown, to be honest with you. Panda says, big question. Do we sign Sue at this point and pay him, or do we try to play waiver wire? I'm scared, to be honest, because our pass rush is great, but we've always lacked pass rush in the middle. We got ran on too much. Yeah. I think I talked about this last week and the week before, actually, about when Hankins and Bilal went on the pup. If we sign Sue right away or another player, another vet out there, free agent, that will tell the tale on how bad off these guys are. I don't see them pressing the panic button yet. They haven't signed anybody yet still. So I'm assuming both those guys are going to be available for the regular season. Not to say that's going to cure our ills, but again, we have $23 million over the cap. I'm very interested to see if we're just going to keep the $23 million over the cap and go with what we have, or try to bolster some of these positions. Like I said, offensive tackle, defensive tackle. We need a little bit more help there, in my opinion. Even with the 2 starters in on the defensive side, I would love to get some more help there. I'm not impressed with anybody else we have there. So Sandy B says, hit that like button, subscribe, ring that bell. Don't ring the bell, just smash it. Hit it, smash it, knock it right off your laptop or your phone or whatever you're watching right now. Follow on TikTok, of course. Again, I appreciate that. Thank you very much. That's okay. Matthew Pohl said, I was disappointed in how Alex Leatherwood played. I'm not. I thought he was okay. I didn't see a big issue this week. He didn't come in until the second half. The bigger issue was the left side. The bigger issue was the Luminor experiment at left tackle was a disaster. Alex Bars should not be on the team. I would say he's pretty bad. He's probably our worst guard at this point, to be honest with you. And then Leatherwood came in the second half. I thought did pretty decent job. Not great, but not terrible. Still getting a lot of pressure though. A lot of stunts hurt us. A lot of defensive tackles getting in, but it usually wasn't straight inside. So let's see. Thank for the likes. Appreciate it, Sandy on TikTok. Let's see. Panda says, I agree, Sandy. I like Brown. That's my guy, but I think he's similar to Jacobs and White. But I do think he can make the practice squad if one of these guys goes down. That's if he doesn't get signed or claimed. Yeah. I don't think Britton Brown's going to be claimed or signed. I think he's going to end up on the practice squad. We might bring him in 2023, and he might earn a roster spot then. I really don't see him making the regular 53-man roster this year, though. Let's see. Matthew says Drake just came off an injury. People should hold their horse. Yeah, I mentioned that. The ankle injury. And that's tough because that's his game. The outside kind of quickness, elusiveness on the outside. And if that ankle isn't right, there goes his strength. So Again, another wonderful signing by the old regime. $8 million. Thank you. How much do you think we could get Ndamukong Suh for? About 8 or 9 million. So who would you rather have on the team? Put a 1 in the chat if you think you'd rather have Ndamukong Suh than Kenyon Drake on the team for the same amount of money. Put a 2 if you'd rather have Kenyon Drake on this team. Put a 3 if you don't even care. If you're not even paying attention, well, you probably won't even put anything down. So let's see. I see it there. I do appreciate all the likes. So I see 13 people in the YouTube channel. I appreciate that as well. Sandy would rather have Kenyon Drake. I like that. Okay, well, I think I'd rather rent Ndamukong Suh for a year. Of course, he's on the backside of his career. We're not going to get the Ndamukong Suh of Detroit, of course. And when he was with Tampa, he had a lot of good players around him, like Devin White, who we could have gotten instead of Cleve Farrell, but I digress. I think it's still an upgrade, though. If you look at ours, if you put Sue in the middle with Chandler and Max, oh my gosh. And Hankins is healthy, and hopefully he continues as he did in the second half of the season, being able to stop the run pretty well. That's a pretty formidable front four. So, yeah, I'd rather have him. I honestly think running backs are kind of a dime a dozen. That's probably why we didn't re-sign Josh Jacobs. Another reason is his numbers have kind of regressed the last few years. He's been hurt. Also had a little bit of off-field issues. Remember, he had that single car, was it a DUI, was it not deal about a year ago? I think it was about this time. I want to say it was right after camp, before the season started, something like that. So, let's see. 4, I don't know, says Diane. Hey, you're honest. It's cool. I like it. Matthew Pohl says he'd rather have Kenyon Drake. Okay. I'm leaning towards Sue. I think we have a bigger need at defensive tackle at this point, to be honest. Panda says, what your opinion, do you see the starters for a half next week? Have to think the Dolphins play the starters right. I do not. And I've said this before. I'm going to say it again. August 20th right here. You can see the important dates underneath me. You can check it out. So tomorrow's the cut down. We've got to cut at least one player. At Miami, Saturday afternoon game. Have you been in Florida in August? That's going to be something. It's basically going to be hot, humid, nasty weather, hamstring pulls, strains, dehydration. All this nonsense is going to happen. Why risk your starters for this crappy game? That means nothing. Absolutely nothing. I would not start Derek Carr. I would not start Devontae Adams. I would not start Colton Miller in this game. I would not start Hunter Renfrow. I would not start Max or Chandler. No way, Jose. Now, we have a home game here. I want to see them out there for about a quarter. In this game. And that's going to help us get that final cut down number. Again, we have to audition all these other guys. We got to get to 53. That's almost 30 players we got to get rid of. So we need the backups. We need solid backups, and I think that's what I would do, Panda. Panda says, imagine Sue and Nichols and Max and Kuntz and Chandler. Oh my God. Well, I would want not Nichols there. Nichols would be a backup to Sue. I'd want Hankins in there at the one technique. We need one big body. I don't want to play too small inside. We're already having trouble stopping the run. So I would want a one technique guy there. I know Sue can do both. I think he's more proficient at the 3 and the 5 going outside the guard. Those same plays we were getting killed on last night, where the defensive tackle would pull to the outside of the guard, in between the guard and the tackle. Sue can do that and do it very well, and still do it at his age. So, but yeah, that would be unbelievable, that front four. And Panda says, if the line is dominant, secondary doesn't have to cover for long. And, I totally agree with that philosophy. I was watching some other preseason games. I looked at the Jets game. They got, Sauce Gardner in the first round, and he looked pretty good. And everybody's saying, oh, yeah, he looks good, and blah, blah, blah. But the Jets were still, their defense was still, they were still moving down the ball down the field, getting touchdowns. They just weren't throwing at him. So you need 2 or 3 of those Sauce Gardner players to make a difference in the secondary. You get 2 or 3 pass rushers, and you're going to get interceptions. You're going to get fumbles. You're going to get sacks and punts. The position's way more valuable, in my opinion. Let's see. Thank you for that, Tiny Danny. I'm getting some gifts. I appreciate that on the TikTok. 3,400 likes. I appreciate that. That is so awesome. I love it. 14 likes over here. 14 viewers on here. I appreciate that. 18 likes. My bad. It's covered up here. You TikTokers get to see some of the behind the scenes that the YouTubers don't. A little bit of an advantage, though. The pass blocking and run stopping is getting a little closer now. 56% for run stopping and 44% for the pass blocking. I put a question out there. Which one is the bigger issue for us there? So you can go ahead and vote if you haven't already in YouTube. Let's see. Sandy B says Florida. Yuck. Yes. Panda says never been to Florida, but you're right. Let's not play our starters. Yeah. I lived for a year in Florida. I almost got hit by lightning once. That's a different story. Maybe we'll play. We'll talk about Champion Tales at one point. I spent a year down there. Rains just about every day in the afternoon. Miami, not so much. I was in Orlando, but still very humid. All those Gulf states are very humid. It's going to be hot. Again, it's in August. That's why I was happy when I saw the Jacksonville game. We got to go to Jacksonville, but it's, I believe, in October. I believe week 9. So the heat should be off. Not to say it's going to be cool, but the heat should be off. Thank you for that, Dougie, Dash Dougie. You guys are giving me some nice gifts over here in TikTok. I appreciate that. So thank you very much. Let's see. Sandy says, I've been there many times in August. Yikes, and hurricane season. Yeah, hurricane season starts, I believe, in June through December. So I'm more concerned about the humidity and the heat and players pulling muscles. And, Waller already has a hamstring injury. If it's legit, it'll get worse. I wouldn't even send them on the trip, to be honest with you. I wouldn't even send. Of course, you got to send Derek Carr. He's the star. You got to send him. He's going to sit there and joke around with Devontae Adams like he's been doing all preseason. I get that, but he's not getting on the field. No way. Panda says the Bills' defensive line in that preseason game is what I wish the Raiders had. I saw a little bit of that game. Like I said, we did our rankings of the AFC. Remember the Power Conference? If not, check out my video on YouTube on that. We did a tier maker on that. I did say the Bills are probably the team to beat, not only AFC, but probably in the league itself. That doesn't mean the Raiders can't beat them, but it's going to take a good effort to beat this team. They're pretty much solid all the way around. Let's see. Panda says, I'd love to hear that champion. maybe hit me back. We'll do the schedule review. I believe the weekend of Labor Day. No, yeah, right before Labor Day. I'll go on. We'll do the schedule review right before week 1. Remind me, and I'll tell you the story. Let's see. Panda, last question from Panda. That's good because we normally go about an hour anyway. We're almost at that hour point, so I do appreciate you guys coming on. Panda has last question. Can you predict the record for this upcoming season? Now, again, come to our schedule review. We did a schedule review 1.0, and I made my predictions, and then I got your consensus predictions as well. We put the schedule right out here in front, tallied our wins and losses. Last season, I said we'd go 10-7. We actually went 10-7. I didn't get every single game right, but I got more than the consensus. So you guys need to step up your game. This year, I went 11-6. Again, we're going to make our final changes after we get to the 53-man roster before week 1. Then we'll check it again at the bye week, and then we'll check how we did at the end of the season. So if you enjoy that, come there. So yes, I say we're going to have 11 wins. We're going to go 11-6 this season. What do you think we're going to go, Panda? I think we're going to review our predictions again, right? Exactly. Just like I said, we're going to probably do it the Friday before Labor Day weekend is my guess. We'll do a live stream there. We'll be past the cut down. I'm trying to think of the day that is. The 2nd, I believe, of September. So if you look here, 30th is the final cut down. We'll talk about the final roster, and we'll get right into that. That'll probably be more like an hour and a half show. That takes a little bit longer. Those in the when we do NFL mock, when we do the mock drafts for the Raiders in the spring before the NFL draft, those take a little bit longer time too. Sounds good. I'll be there. Thank you always. Thank you for joining us, and I appreciate that. I appreciate every one of you sending here. I see some footballs here, some European footballs and some American footballs as gifts, Sandy. I do appreciate that. Thank you very much. Again, if you are enjoying this, and especially if you're watching this on a replay, YouTube puts those out. I usually don't put them out on TikTok. I'll do a video just on what we talked about, the game review, the good, bad, and the ugly, a quick one. And I kind of edited it out, get rid of my ums and ahs and because we're live right now. I mean, this is like one take. We're just going. So, but the full live stream will be on YouTube. A lot of people watch that. To me, it's like, why are you watching that and not being here live with us? You should be here live with us, interacting with us, asking me questions. I can ask you guys questions. You can vote in the poll, which I'm going to end the poll now. It looks like run stopping is about 56% to 44% as far as our bigger issue. Again, why not come here live? And to do that, you got to subscribe and hit the bell notification, set it to all. That way you'll be notified when I put these out. I usually put them out the morning of. So let's see. Our next one will probably be next Sunday or Monday because our next game is Saturday against the Dolphins. We'll do the same thing, the game review, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And then we're going to talk about our next cut down date, which is next Tuesday, not tomorrow. We have one tomorrow, but our next one is even bigger. We got to get to 80, and we have to do something about those pup guys, or we're going to lose them for 6 games in the regular season. So thank you very much. Hit the bell, hit that like if you did like this. Again, it helps me out, helps the channel out. Same thing with TikTok. The more views, the more likes and follows, the more these platforms see it and spread the word. And you can spread the word and share it as well if you so choose. Again, thank you guys for coming out. I do appreciate each and every one of you coming out. I try to answer all your questions, even if you put the comments in after the fact. Unless YouTube doesn't give it to me, I do usually respond to those. So thank you very much. And as always,
something, with all the distractions that you have off the field, how are you able to keep focused on winning football games as you do and do throughout the year?
When you have great coaches, then after you have great coaches, you get great players. You have a great organization, and you tell them one thing: just win, baby.